Hello everyone, welcome to SketchCraft Live. I'm Rob Duenas, and this is going to be art guide tip, coloring tips, art tips, coloring Copic skin tones. This is an 11 by 14 sheet of paper. This is a little guide I've made for myself using some quick sketches. I've done some head sketches, a couple body sketches. And what I'm going to do is create a bunch of different skin tone combinations because I have the Rick and Morty coming up, I have a Bayonetta, I have a lot of different skin tones coming up, and normally when I've done complicated commissions, I kind of figured out what I'm going to do right before I do the commission. But what I want to do, and what I've been doing the past few days, is have my own reference for very basic skin tone combinations, from light to dark to colorful, everything in between. So I only printed one of these out. I'm going to have to print some more though, most definitely. So I will get to that as I get to it. I didn't quite prepare. That being said, let's just color this one, and that'll be enough for the purpose of the demonstration. So I'm going to make this guide available for you to download. It's 11 by 14, but it scales to 8.5 by 11 perfectly. So if you just, on your printer, you hit scale to print, it will print out on 8.5 by 11. I just wanted everyone to be able to see this as we go very clearly. Let's just start here. So what I've done is I've got some basic faces, different body types. On the left, I'm going to put the name of the code for the Copic marker, and on the right, I'm going to put a sample of that color. Kind of makes sense, right? So let's just start with some basic light skin tone. What I've also been doing is simplifying my Copic markers down to 64 colors. The reason why is it fits in one bin, including the refills, and I found that I don't need a lot of miscellaneous colors. So that's what I've been doing here. Let's just start with this basic color. This is going to be E00. So I'm going to come in here and very quickly color on her eyes. I'm going to fill the skin in normally. Now you'll notice the lines look a little colored just because I've tinted them a little bit of a purpley red, which I normally do. Even when I draw commissions at cons, I ink in a burnt sienna like ink, so it's similar to how I actually. And I'm going to go ahead and just fill all of these up with E00. Because what I want to do is have a basic light skin tone combination and a couple different shade color options. This helps if you have multiple people on the page and you're like, oh, hey, I'd like them kind of stand out a little bit. You can. These aren't realistic. I'm not doing realistic shading here, okay? It's kind of more like an animated thing. Simple but effective. I've drawn no hair on these in case I want to practice hair combinations in the future. Then I can just quickly blotch in some hair stuff. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I tend to not ink hair anymore. I just paint it directly with the Copics. So let's just go ahead, go here, fill this in, fill that in, fill that in, and we'll just write E00, 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 E00. Let's let that dry for a second. Now, here's some advice. When you're using really light Copics, really light colored Copics, they're going to look kind of grayish and dampish when you first put it on the page. That's because this is alcohol. They're alcohol markers and they're wet. So they're going to look a little damp. If you let it sit for a few minutes and just dry, it will brighten up pretty quickly. It won't look gray and damp. So you will have a little bit of modeling here and there. That's fine. There's fluctuations in pressure here. You could go a second coat if you wanted it completely, perfect. I like a little bit of fluctuation. Human skin tone, like if you don't notice, look at your own skin. It's not perfect. I know, it has variations of hue in there. Whether you're dark skinned, light skinned, or alien, like a green. Even if you're an alien, like your Zim, you're going to have some fluctuation. So now I'm going to do a very basic shading here using R22. Here, R22. And we'll just come in here and very simply. I already know these combinations work because I practiced them, but this guide would be what I would practice with moving in the future. I would just print out a few of these and I could sit down and practice to my heart's content. So we'll go ahead and fill that in. R22. I have a third box in case I want to add a darker shade. Now, you're going, Rob, that doesn't blend very well. I can blend these edges if I want. I can come back with the marker and soften the edge, the E00, or I can take a color pencil, a pink one, and bleed it out if I want to, or soften the edge using color pencil. I'm basing these around, right now, kind of a harder edge shade. So I'm looking for a little bit more contrast, but I'm not going to mess with, oh, shucks. V01 will be the next one. This is kind of like a purpley. And we'll get into some, these are basic skin tones. We're going to do a light and a dark, and then we're going to do some creative skin tones. So you can kind of show, too, ways you can experiment, you know? I haven't drawn noses, too, so you can add shade under or on top of a nose, depending on how you wanted the shade to come down. You can always draw a nose. These are just little sketches. They're not supposed to be perfectly drawn things. So we'll go here, fill that in, and V01. Pretty simple. And then the other one, we're going to do kind of an orangey skin using YR00. There, can go underneath. And, you know, if you had 3 girls on a page, you know, they can all stand out, right? Or you can stick with whatever you want, you know, whatever color scheme you like. You have a cool, you got, you know, warm, you got like a really warm. YR00. Oh, sorry, 02. Oh, shucks, that was 02. That's super dark. I was going to say, it looks a little darker than I normally do. That's because it's YR02. Huh. Well, let's do a third one. Let's see what that looks like. Normally when I'm doing this, I don't talk. So like, I don't even listen to music. So when I'm making these sorts of things, I'm doing development. People go, "How did you stream that?" And it's like, no, I spent 8 hours in my room experimenting until I figured this kind of stuff out. So as I talk, I lose a little bit of focus on what I'm trying to do. All right. So it looks a little mottled. It's going to dry and get brighter, just so you can see how it did there. Let's watch the magic happen. E00. You can already see here, it's starting to lighten up. It's going to lighten up. It's going to lighten up. If I added the skin shade now, it'll blend through, right, and kind of bleed out and soften. So you can do that. I want a little bit more contrast when I'm doing this. Let's give it a second. And while that's happening, we can practice some of these other skin tones. We'll do some darker ones really quick. Matter of fact, I'll do 2. We'll do some E4 ones. We'll do a couple E4 ones. So this is E41. I'll have to print out another sheet. I can already tell. It's not that big a deal. So we'll come here. So that's an E41, and We'll do another E4 one, and then we'll do some E3 ones. You can see how that's lightened up quite a bit, right? So I'll put that back. I'll save this, and we'll save that, and then I'm going to grab my E3 one, and we'll do 2 E3 ones, a couple of those. Make sure I'm filling this stuff in. And although you may remember this stuff now, months from now, when you come back to your art, you're going to be like, I don't remember what I just did. That is really the whole point of this. You know, if you don't use Copics for a while, or you've been off doing something else, you're going to forget. E4-1, E4-1, E3-1, E3-1, and then we'll do E2-5, this darker skin tone here. And with this, I'm going to add an undercolor. Kind of go over it really quick with the Y00, which is a cream, which adds a little bit of life in the gaps of the skin. Like it adds a little bit of. And we'll try here too, see if that works. I don't like that as much, but we'll put it down. I may like it later, once it dries. So a little bit of experimentation as we go here, right? So we'll fill that in. All right. And then we'll fill that code in. That was Y00. Y00. And we'll grab that again and fill that in. So as I ditch working for publishers and move into doing whatever the hell I want to do, I can be like, here's how I'm rolling. You know, it's a big deal for me. I spent 10 years hustling my ass off. So it's nice to go, that's how I'm going to do this. And I don't really have to deal with anyone telling me what to do. So let's go back here. This is going to be Y00. It's a slightly less saturated shade. You can see the difference between the two, right? It's good to have. So I'll fill that there. And YR00. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 basic light skin combinations. Could go for a shade on some of these. Like, hmm. Let me see here. Like for the shade here, we can use a V15. Right? V15. Let me experiment here a little bit. And we can use the exact same shade here. That would look good. V15. And then let me see about that. So YR14. And I'll use the YR02 here, which is that base one there, as a shade here. Yeah. YR02. Pretty effective, pretty simple, pretty easy, poppy, colorful, fun. We make fun art here. That's what we do. So let's just work on these really quick and wrap this little lesson up because we're already at the 18-minute mark. I want to keep this under 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and get these. This color will be a BV00 for the shade. This is mauve shadow. I use the codes. And I'm going to need to refill that marker really quickly. So let me do that. I've ordered a new marker because this mauve shadow was one of the first ones I got 3 years ago. 3 years ago. And it has seen its time. This is one of the most heavily abused markers I own. One of the last original. BV00. And we will do some more fun skin tones. I'll just make a separate video for that. So, where did I put that? Put that back. And then let's also do Let's do a blue, a B9 one. A little bit more of a masculine thing, but I could see that being the girl and this being more of a guy tone pretty easily. B9 one. Or if she's by the water, that would work too. Look at that shit. Boom. So I think we can add a shade on that one. No, that on that. So we can add a B95 shade here. All right, and then we can do the same here. So same color, different use. Yeah. These are transparent mediums here, markers, you know, they're transparent. So you layer it over color, you get another color. That can throw some people off, but I love that. That means you don't have to buy a color for everything. Look how fun that is. It's fun, right? It's like making colors. So let's see, B91. Let me put that little bastard back. And B95, we'll put that back. So let's go over to these last ones. E31, E31. So we'll do the same. We'll do a purple and a blue. So we'll do a purple. We'll start with V01 for a shade. More of a lively tone. Youthful, right? This needs to be refilled. V04. Oh, sorry, V01. V01. Why don't we get that V15 and use that as a And we're using shade not to darken, you're using shade to pop things forward. Think about like shadows as a way to add contrast, to make the brighter things seem brighter. Okay, and then this one we'll do with the cooler. So we'll go back to the E9, sorry, the B91. B91. Thing to remember too, and I'll show you, is it's a little hard to see the lines because they're tinted red. But you know, you add the black right over back over, or you add if these are thicker little lines, it'd be a little easier to see the characters. I'll probably adjust that a bit on the file you can download, so it's really clear. B91, come here, B95. Technically, it's a fourth color, but that's because we added a undercolor, so that's okay. We can just add it in order and make a slash. B91 slash B95. Not a big deal, right? Oh yeah, V15, forgot to add that. I'll come back here. And then for her, for the shade, we're going to use V15. And we'll make a slash as well for that. V15. Make a slash, let that dry for a second. And we'll grab V17. Yeah, let that dry. Then we come over here and just pop that out. All right, we're at the 30-minute mark. So basic skin tones, light, right? Sort of peachy. We got some very whiter, sort of, I won't say albino, but let's say like, you know, Celtic-y, right? Like a little more pale. And then we got some here's some islandy, and then we got some darker shades. And it's a lot of fun. All the codes. So I'm excited. I'm going to upload that. I'll make that link available here in a little bit. So if you're watching, you can download it, try it out yourself. Share all your pics and comments below or on the Facebook. SketchCraft.com is the YouTube page. It's got links to the Facebook at SketchCraft. I will see you all on the next SketchCraft Live. All right, later, everybody. Bye. Ba-dum-ba-dum.